Brothers and sisters, aunties, uncles, and play cousins. What's good, family? It's your boy, Professor Michael. Alumni, we back at it today, Chapter 5. Man, I'm enjoying going through these real life stories. You know what I mean? I'm learning so much. You know, I know there's been a couple of things that really kind of caught me off guard. Some of it I already knew, but all of it's tugging at my heartstrings. I feel like I'm really getting to know more about Ren, seeing the glimpses and hearing the story of young Ren and stuff like that is really necessary for me to see. I guess is the word, necessary. But more than anything, it's just making me really respect Ren even more than I already did, as if that was even possible. So let's go ahead and dig back into this. Chapter 5, we're gonna keep it going. And yeah, that's it. Hey, housekeeping. Make sure y'all hit that like button. I appreciate y'all. Most of y'all have been hitting the like button even before you start watching the video. Love to y'all. But make sure you hit that like button before you leave up out of here. If you're not already subscribed to Old Heads Media, come on in, join the university, join the alumni, hit the subscribe button. We'd appreciate you becoming part of the community. And make sure you hit the notification bell so that you can stay up on everything that we do over here at Old Heads Media. All right, let's get into it. Chapter 5. Let's go.
I tried to cling on to music in whatever ways I could during the time I was sick. During my time in Brighton, whenever my energy would allow it, I'd get myself out onto the streets and I'd go busking, about once every 3 weeks or so. It was my second year in Brighton, and I remember one evening heading home with my guitar and my busking amp after a couple of hours of playing on the street. I remember hearing this amazing ethereal voice while heading through the lanes, and I saw that it was coming from this 16-year-old kid. I've always had a deep admiration and feeling of camaraderie for buskers. There's something about the willingness to be able to bare your soul to a street full of strangers that really moves me. I noticed that the kid didn't have an amp. He was singing totally a cappella, but you'd only hear him if you were within a few meters of him. I knew from years on the street and singing a cappella than myself that an amp can change everything. I had this compulsion to offer him mine. I approached him and I told him that if he plugged in and sang while I played guitar, the whole street would stop in its tracks. And I was right. His voice soared across the street and people started stopping. Not long after, we had the whole street's attention. Something quite magic was happening. This was the first day that I met Sam Tompkins, someone who would be integral to my whole life changing later on.
Speaking of Sam Tompkins, I do know that he's got quite a few, like, I don't know if they're older or current or whatever, I don't know, but I do know that he's got a lot of stuff, on his page, that he's done with Sam Tompkins. I need to go back and check those things out. Y'all got to be patient. I literally will get to everything because I'm obsessed with this Ren, material archive. So I'm going to go all the way in the rabbit hole. Some of it I may get to sooner than other things, but I will get to it. But that's one that I'm interested in and checking out the stuff that he's done with Sam Tompkins. But even that speaks to like the heart of who Ren is. He's walking down the street. Number one, like he said, he's already had an admiration for people that's willing to, get out there, like he said, and bare their soul on the streets. But to go over and say, hey, you know what I'm saying? Let me help you out. Even all the way down to the financial gain of it, because I know when they're out there busking, sometimes people contribute and donate change and this, that, and the other. It wasn't even about that for him. It was like, let me help this guy. So he lets him use his amp. He had already been out there busking himself, but decided to take more time out of his day, his schedule. We don't even know how he felt after spending a couple hours busking himself. But he said, that doesn't matter. I'm going to go over here and help this guy, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to play guitar with him and help him. That just speaks to the heart of who he is. But I'm definitely going to check out some of this Sam Tompkins stuff that he's done with him.
He had a friend with him, this guy called Connor Honeysett, who would later go on to be my manager.
Connor.
For now, they'd just be a couple of teenagers that I'd have to help out on my way home. It's funny how life works like that. I kept up to date with what Sam was doing on social media. There was a part of me that felt like his successes allowed me to live vicariously through someone else who lived an alternate reality where I never got sick. He was getting videos on SBTV, writing and featuring with some amazing artists, and there were quite a lot of similarities in our writing styles, and all at such a young age. I wasn't really able to do any of that stuff at the time. I was mostly bedbound with the exception of the odd day that I'd be able to go busking. It could have been very easy for that feeling to turn into jealousy, but it never did. I felt truly proud of him. Years later, we go on to write a song together called Blind Eyed, which would transform the trajectory of my whole career.
Okay, so that just told me, Blind Eyed, if I can find it, if that's one of the ones in his, that's going to be the first one that I listened to by them, because he said that that was the first one that they did together, and it went on to change the trajectory of his whole career. So that's going to be the first one that I listened to with Sam Tompkins. You know what? I may actually get to that one before I do chapter 6, just because now I want to hear it.
During this time, I was still desperately jumping from one treatment to another treatment. And now that my diet had become more limited, I was trying new diets with no luck. As the options in the alternative health world started to dwindle, I started searching for answers in the divine. In the former years, I had moments where I found myself sitting in churches, talking in tears to whoever might be listening, or experimenting with energetic healing modalities like Reiki. With time, my searching started taking even more unusual turns. I started looking to things like exorcists. Once you exhaust all rational explanations and treatments, the irrational suddenly starts looking more palatable. I had a skeptic's mind, but I had nothing to lose because
I don't even know if I don't even know if I would call that irrational. Given all the things that he's gone through, going to see these doctors, everybody trying to give him treatments that aren't working, him doing his own self-diagnosis and trying treatments and things like that that didn't work. I mean, I don't even know if I would call, hey, let me see if this might not be a demonic possession or something that's going on. I'm willing to try anything. I don't even know if I would call that irrational. I would call that somebody who's just doesn't know what else to do. So I'm willing to try anything. I don't really even know that I would call that irrational. I mean, seriously.
Suddenly starts looking more palatable. I had a skeptic's mind, but I had nothing to lose because there were no other good options. My friend Momoko's mother was from Japan. She aligned herself with a sect of Buddhism called the Nichiren Daishonin. They would chant a repeated phrase over and over again while holding prayer beads. The chant would go, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, Nam.
I had a friend when I was younger whose mother was Buddhist, and I remember he invited me over to their house one time, and me and him was like cool. We hung out all the time, making music, stuff like that. Even when I was boxing, me and him used to spar, all that kind of stuff. And I went over to his house, and his mom wasn't there, but I walked into the living room and I seen all the little stuff set up in there, and I asked him about it, what that was about, and he was like, yeah, my mom is a Buddhist, and I guess he was learning more about Buddhism himself. And he called himself trying to explain it to me. I didn't really understand what he was explaining to me at the time, but then he was like, hey, we do this, that, the other. And he did that where he sat down in front of I'm gonna call it shrine. I don't know what they called it, but where he sat down in front of and did the little ding with the symbols and started doing the Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And I was like, to me at the time, remember I was a teenager. So at the time when I'm listening to this, I thought it was goofy as hell. I mean, and I'm not here even to talk about nobody's religion or nothing like that, because I know there's some really, really good people that I've met that practice Buddhism. But as a teenager, I was like, bro, I'm not finna sit down there and do that mess. And then I seen on What's Love Got to Do with It, when I seen Tina Turner and her friend practicing this, and she sat down and was doing that. Tina kind of looked at her the same way I looked at my friend when she first showed it to her. But Tina ended up trying it. But anyway, sorry. that was random.
Or the Nichiren Daishonin. They would chant a repeated phrase over and over again while holding prayer beads. The chant would go, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, over and over again. Its intention was to align you with your innate Buddhahood, to cleanse you of any bad karma and put you in alignment with your true destiny on earth, to find peace, to find tranquility. Momoko's mum gifted me with my own set of beads, and I began to chant every morning. Eventually, I joined a group in Brighton after a serendipitous meeting with an incredibly eccentric, bright, colourful suit-wearing piano tuner. He spotted my beads and he grinned at me and he pulled out his own. We'd sit in a small group and we'd chant for hours sometimes. There was something comforting about trusting the course of my life and illness to an incomprehensible power outside of myself. I spoke openly in these meetings that I loved feeling part of something, but that I really struggled saying with certainty that I believed in it. This was the issue I faced with every religion I temporarily aligned myself with looking for answers. Something in me couldn't bring myself to take ancient texts as gospel, all too aware of how man twists so-called spiritual doctrines to suit his own power-hungry pursuits. I wanted divine proof.
I can actually understand that. I can actually understand that. To me, my questions have always been not so much in whether these things are real or not. My questions have always been in whether the people that are teaching it to me are teaching me properly, are teaching me what it actually means, or are they teaching you their own interpretations or their manipulative, interpretations. Like it's not, to me, it was never about the text. It was about the people interpreting the text. Anyway, random again. Sorry, let's go.
Doctrines to suit his own power-hungry pursuits. I wanted divine proof. I sometimes screamed at the sky or the waves and begged for it. I was answered with sickness. If there was a creator, I was angry with it. The irony was that I envied people of faith. I felt like people who truly trusted themselves to a higher power seemed to possess a level of calm and acceptance that I didn't. One of my stranger encounters was going to see a shaman. The shaman, of course...
Oh, hold on. That was a powerful line. I'm sorry.
With it. The irony was that I envied people of faith. I felt like people who truly trusted themselves to a higher power seemed to possess a level of calm and acceptance that I didn't. One of my stranger encounters was going to see a shaman. The shaman, of course, was a middle-aged white woman in a quite nice-looking cottage in Brighton. She told me to lie down and she proceeded to lean over my body and made noises like coughing up phlegm while speaking.
Ren, we know what coughing up phlegm sounds like. He had to demonstrate it. Typical Ren.
Proceeded to lean over my body and made noises like coughing up phlegm while speaking an unknown ancient language that seemed to include whistling noises. After about 20 minutes of making distressed groaning noises over my back, she paused in contemplation for a while and proceeded to tell me that I'd been killed by a sword in my past life. She made sucking noises near the supposed stab site on my chest, and then she spat into a bucket. She then placed a little stone into my hand and she told me that I had to bury it on a high hill in Brighton on the next full moon. The most depressing part of this story is during the next full moon, I did indeed find a big hill, dug a small hole, and I buried the stone in it. Surprising to say, fuck all happened. It was this journey into the spiritual unknown that led me to a very unsettling experience.
He said, the depressing part of the story was that I actually did the shit.
Is during the next full moon, I did indeed find a big hill, dug a small hole, and I buried the stone in it. Surprising to say, fuck all happened. It was this journey into the spiritual unknown that led me to a very unsettling experience. I located a therapist online who had claimed to overcome ME herself. She specialised in it and dealt with people's past trauma, but also worked with energies like Reiki. I had to get the train to where she lived. She met me in the car and drove me in silence back to hers. There was a bit of an unusual energy about her. I've always been really good at reading people. I can't quite explain it, but sometimes when I meet someone, it's like I have a sixth sense for whether or not they'll play a significant role in my life. This person's energy felt alien to me. When we arrived at her, she told me that she sometimes would consult with her horses about people's health conditions. It was at this moment I knew that she was probably insane.
This episode got me cracking up so far. Like I'm listening to his story and I'm hearing like all the sad things that he's going through and his desire to get well, but I'm also hearing power. I'm hearing strength. Like no matter what he's trying everything. Like he refuses to give up. Like this isn't somebody who feels this isn't somebody who is defeated. It's okay to feel defeated without being defeated. So he definitely felt defeated because of all the things he's tried and none of them have worked. But he's determined to keep going until he finds it, till he finds the one. So I'm hearing the power, I'm hearing the strength. I'm also hearing the struggle and the depression and the sadness and the, the letdowns. And I'm hearing all of that stuff too. But it's real hard to focus on that stuff because Ren is so fucking funny. He's innately a comedian. That's probably something that he developed as, he may have already had that trait anyway, but it probably got stronger as a self-defense against the depression. Let's make light or humor of, so that this thing doesn't defeat me. And the way that he's explaining it right now is just it's it's just the woman used to consult with her horses. But you know what? I do believe that about Ren, that he says when I meet people, just him being the empath that he is, you know, that gives you the ability. I also am very good at reading people. I don't know if I'm at his level or not, but I'm very good at reading people. Usually within the first meeting, I can tell whether or not I want to be around this person anymore. But I do believe that he probably does have a real gift, especially with what he's gone through in his life, intensifying those other senses in him, of being able to tell immediately if this person is cool, if this person ain't cool. But he took it a step further and says, I can tell if this person is meant to have a significant role in my life. That's powerful, but I believe it. I believe that about him.
Nonetheless, I shared a lot about my life. We got into the trauma of living with sickness, what it was like to constantly mourn your own life. It was comforting at first, and it felt like
Constantly mourn your own life. You mourn when something, constantly mourn your own life. That's a powerful line.
I knew that she was probably insane. Nonetheless, I shared a lot about my life. We got into the trauma of living with sickness, what it was like to constantly mourn your own life. It was comforting at first, and it felt like a safe space, until it got a bit weird. One day she offered me a glass of water before a Reiki session, and during the session I fell into a deep sleep. When I came around, multiple hours had passed, which was peculiar for me. I usually have issues with sleeping and couldn't drift off, particularly not in unfamiliar environments. She assured me it was total normal and to get plenty of water, and I thought nothing of it. Lines started getting somewhat blurry when she'd invite me for meals with her and her husband. I took it as friendliness, but I noticed that she started messaging me outside of clinic hours. One time I agreed to create music for her in exchange for some extra sessions. Not long after, I started getting strange messages in my Facebook inbox. She started telling me how she knew that all my previous songs had been about her, which they hadn't. When I dismissed this, she would sometimes message me saying that she was outside of my house, telling me that our souls were bonded and that bad things would happen to me if we weren't together. To put it lightly, I was already in a pretty weird emotional place because of years of sickness. So having someone in the position of trust abuse their position like this shook me, and it shook my trust in therapy even more. It shook my trust in people in general. I told her to never contact me again, and I blocked her, but she would still occasionally get through on other numbers. One time she'd phoned my mum's house relentlessly. My mum, knowing the details, told her to stop harassing me and threatened to get the police involved after things which went silent. This was also the year that I met my second ever girlfriend, who I'd later be engaged to for a short amount of time.
Number one, that's wild. That's crazy. That's crazy. And yeah, I'm not even gonna comment on that, except for to say that as he was telling that story, sometimes you got to learn how to listen to what's said and what's not said. What wasn't said was what happened during that period of time after he drank that glass of water and he woke up, which tells me that he never found out what happened during that time while he was out. That must be, along with her being crazy and following him and stalking him and this, that, and the other. I'm sure it probably played a part in his mind. Like, I don't know what transpired between the time I drank that water and the time that I woke up, because it's obvious somebody put something in that water. Bruh, I don't like hearing stuff like that. Especially when good people tell you the stories of things that have happened to them like that, and as good a person as Ren is, it's already bad enough that you have to deal with all the stuff that he went through physically and mentally, and with his sickness and illness and stuff like that. But then to find out that along the path of dealing with that, he's also got people taking advantage of him and harming him. um and it's like, bruh, like he's going through enough. Like, yeah, come on.
harassing me and threatened to get the police involved after things which went silent. This was also the year that I met my second ever girlfriend, who I'd later be engaged to for a short amount of time. My little sister had already set the relationship up in her mind. She met this girl in Bristol who she got on with super well, and somehow she wingmanned me and planted the seed in her brain that she'd be perfect for her older brother, me. My sister's friend had moved to Brighton, but I was blissfully unaware of this matchmaking. At this point, I was living in a house share in Rose Hill Terrace in Brighton with some lunatics I'd met at Ben's house, and Momoko had moved down from Cornwall. The house was only meant for 2 people, but Momoko and I had pretended we were married and pretended that we were going to have a baby to be able to get it. As soon as the deed was signed, we moved in with about 5 other friends, one living in the living room, one in the attic, one in the study, one in the conservatory. It's safe to say rent was pretty fucking cheap. One night my friend Luke was throwing a party and she rocked up with a few of her friends. My sister had pretty good taste in girls and I had a crush on her instantly. At some point in the night we both ended up lying on my bedroom floor on a bunch of sofa cushions while about 6 other people were sleeping in various places in my room. One somehow in the upper compartment of my wardrobe. True story.
Somebody was sleeping in the upper compartment of his wardrobe. He said, true story. How the fuck did that happen?
Places in my room, one somehow in the upper compartment of my wardrobe. True story. She asked me to tell her a bedtime story, and I made up the most unhinged story I could think of. By some sort of miracle, she found my madness endearing, and we ended up kissing a lot and staring into each other's eyes till we fell asleep. It's strange navigating a relationship when you're sick. I couldn't go out.
These edits, these film edits that he keeps putting in there.
By some sort of miracle, she found my madness endearing, and we ended up kissing a lot and staring into each other's eyes till we fell asleep. It's strange navigating a relationship when you're sick. I couldn't go out to eat at restaurants because I was allergic to everything. I didn't have the energy to do most normal things that couples do. Some days I'd be so full of brain fog that my personality disappeared, and it was hard to explain that to someone without them thinking that maybe you were just being a bit off with them. I think losing Joe, losing Callum, losing the record deal, losing my last girlfriend, it had all made me wary of getting attached to good things. Quite a lot of my illness made me feel ugly, and it's hard to accept love when you feel ugly. Nonetheless, she did love me.
Nah, that's sad. That's sad. That's sad. Completely understandable. Just sad.
It had all made me wary of getting attached to good things. Quite a lot of my illness made me feel ugly, and it's hard to accept love when you feel ugly. Nonetheless, she did love me, and with time our relationship grew. It was around this time I was contacted by a woman called Jennifer Brea, an incredibly inspiring woman whose journey seemed to parallel mine. She was an incredibly ambitious PhD student at Harvard who one day was struck down by a mystery illness that confined her to a wheelchair. She spent most of her life tirelessly searching for a way out. She was doing a Kickstarter to raise money to make a film called Canary in a Coal Mine. It would later go on to be renamed Unrest, and it would go on to win multiple awards, and it's still watchable on Netflix to this day.
So now I've gotta listen to Sam Tompkins and I have to watch Unrest. I'm gonna watch Unrest and then come tell y'all what I thought about it.
It's an incredibly important and very moving documentary about the horrors of living with ME. I recommend everyone checks that out.
Let me write that down so that I don't forget. Unrest. And it can be found on Netflix. All right. Sorry, I had to make sure that I wrote that down because with all the talking and listening to stuff, I'll remember the Sam Tompkins one because I'm watching Ren a lot, but I'll go watch TV later and forget about the Unrest one. So
important and very moving documentary about the horrors of living with ME. I recommend everyone checks that out. At the time, I started health blogging. I created a series of video diaries that I named Me versus ME. It would be a video document of my various trials with different alternative treatment approaches, and generally a look into the life of someone with a chronic illness. I didn't know it back then, but those videos would save my life. I guess I was occupying a place that was needed, as quite quickly many people in the chronic health communities gravitated towards my videos. Every day, I'd be sent messages telling the stories of the people who had fallen in between the cracks in the floorboards. There was heartbreaking stories. Stories of frustration and confusion. People mourning the people that used to be. Some who were new to this world. Some who had been there for decades. I tried to help them in whatever way I could. I tried to comfort people. In my own little way, I became somewhat of a spokesperson for the voiceless. I felt their pain like it was my own.
And you still are. You still are. You still are a voice for the voiceless.
I tried to help them in whatever way I could. I tried to comfort people. In my own little way, I became somewhat of a spokesperson for the voiceless. I felt their pain like it was my own. This new pursuit gave me a sense of purpose that I desperately needed. Without purpose, I felt useless. I made a lot of friends, and I'd write to them on a daily basis. Some of those friends died.
You can always tell when certain things that he's saying are a bit too emotional for him to even talk about. And it's like tugging at my heartstrings right now. He said spokesperson. I summarized that by saying voice, but you still are a voice for the voiceless. And I talked about that on, I can't remember if it was the last chapter's episode or the one before, was it chapter 3 or chapter 4? Anyway, it doesn't matter which one. I mentioned how it's the irony of all that he's gone through, in that the silver lining is finding his purpose through it. And I talked about in one of the other ones how I feel like Ren is necessary. Ren is a necessary staple on this earth right now. He's very necessary. I mean, hell, I'm looking at it. There's 132,000 subscribers just on, his Ren Makes stuff, which is a drop in the bucket, but over 1 million on the Ren Makes music channel. So over 1 million people, 1.5 million, whatever it is. I'm not looking at it right this second, but over 1 million people find you necessary. Find your story and your journey and your music and the things that you talk about necessary. So you are living in your purpose right now, and you still are a voice for the voiceless.
Some of those friends that decided to take their lives, and they're wicked people. I talk to them a lot.
Wait, what?
Some of those friends that decided to take their lives, and they're wicked people. I talk to them a lot. It was this that ultimately made me decide to stop, but that wouldn't be until years later. Immersing myself in the horrors of this illness and trying to carry some of the weight for the others while I still wasn't strong enough to carry my own eventually took its toll. Jen Bria had found my videos and she asked me to make a song for her documentary. I was honoured. I wrote a song called Patience. I'll leave you with a video taken at the time to finish off this chapter.
I wonder, you guys are so loving and you guys are so kind and so, some empathetic, some sympathetic, whatever it is, you guys are so loving to Ren. But I wonder the vast majority of people, because often people go to the source of where they find what they need for themselves. And in the process of, I consider it like let's say like a spring. We have a place around here where I'm at where they have, a spring up in the mountains, and they've somehow drilled into the rock and put PVC pipe and stuff in there so that spring can do the natural thing that it does, and it drains down and it comes out of this PVC hole at the bottom of the mountain, And people often go in there with their gallon jugs of water and this, that, and the other, and they hold it over the spring well and fill their jugs of water up, and they take it home because they want clean, fresh water. And this symbolizes into me, in my brain, to me, kind of what I'm thinking about Ren right now, is how many people go up to that funnel and stick their stick their jug under Ren to get their bottle filled up, to get what they need for nourishment and refreshment. But in that process, it also occurred to me one time while I was watching people fill up their jugs, and guilty, I was there filling up a jug. So I'm not just talking about other people. I was there filling up a jug myself. But as I'm watching these people, it occurred to me while I was watching them fill their jugs up before I got to filling mine up, I wonder what fills that spring. And is there any risk of that spring, of that valve, of that hole that we get our jugs filled up ever running out? And it occurs to me while I'm listening to Ren talk, and as he's saying this right now, and we've got 1.5 million people that go with their jugs and put them under the valve of Ren to fill their jug up. And how many people ever stop to think, what's filling up that spring? What's filling up Ren to make sure? Or do we all just go to him to get our jug filled? That's something that I think about a lot. Like, I don't ever want to be a person that's always going to a person to get what I need, without somehow bringing them value as well, without somehow bringing something back to them. Because when the spring is empty, not only does the spring not have what it needs anymore to do what it does, but then also everybody that was going to it for jugs. And it's funny because we don't worry about the spring. I know I'm ranting right now, but this is like really, like, this whole part right here just kind of really pulled something out of me. So I apologize if I'm getting on your nerves right now, but I got to say this because there are too many people in the world that actually do this. And, I know people in my own life, people in your life that only come to you when they need something, that only come to get what they need out of you. They don't never come to pour back into you to fill you up. So as you're thinking about this spring, and I know I'm using kind of a weird analogy, but it makes sense to me. So y'all got to deal with it. But as people go to this spring and they're getting their jugs filled, when that spring runs out, nobody's going to give a damn about whether or not that spring gets full again, or whether or not it's going to ever get what it needs to fill back up. You know what they're going to do? They're going to take their jug and find the next well, find the next valve. And then they're going to get what they need from that jug and then won't think nothing about the other spring anymore because now we're getting full over here. And sometimes we treat people that same way, and it's foul. It's fucked up. We drain everything that we can out of a person without ever pouring back into that person. And then when that person runs out of what we need, we just move on to the next person. Meanwhile, the person that we just drained is over here suffering like a motherfucker. They're over there drained. They're over there have nothing left to give. And we just move on without giving it a second thought. I wonder how they're doing. I wonder if they need anything. Can I do anything for them in the process of filling up my jug? Is there any nutrients? Is there something that I can do to give back to that person so that that well doesn't run dry? Not for me, for the sake of the well. Anyway, that just irritated something in me, and I have no idea what triggered it. It was something that he said. I can't tell you exactly what he said, but just the whole context of the whole thing just kind of triggered me because I was thinking about that as he's living in his purpose. And I know that we have a whole bunch of people that love the hell out of Ren and will do anything for Ren. And I appreciate those people. But there are also people out here, even people in my community, reactors, all, there are there are people that follow him for his music or follow him because in the moment they're going through something and what he has is valuable to them. But Is he just a means for your end, or is this mutual, so to speak? I gotta stop. Because I'll keep going. I gotta keep going. But I'm worried about him. I'm worried about him because I don't want that well to ever run out. This is too beautiful of a person, and he's necessary. Let's go.
And I've learnt some lessons that will be so valuable for like. So it's a blessing and a curse being this old, because it's completely changed me. Like it's turned me from a little cocky teenager into somebody who's quite this, I guess, prepared for things now. Like I feel like once I've gone through this, I'll throw anything at me and it'll be okay. But at the same time, as much as I see it as a blessing, I hate it. I do hate it.
It's funny because he said, I can see it as a blessing. Mad props for that. Everything that he's going through and the words that came out of his mouth was, I can see it as a blessing. I hate it, but I can see it as a blessing. It's funny seeing young Ren. I like watching young Ren. I like seeing the growth and seeing where he's at now.
I think it was Thomas Edison that was like, I haven't failed. I've just found 1,000 things that don't work.
I've one of my many books, I've read that.
Which is kind of nice to look at it that way, like I'm just eliminating things. But it really challenges my mind. And yeah, it's just gotten to the point where I'm spending, I'd say, like 95% of my life in a bedroom, which kind of sucks. Because my mind is in such a different place in my body. My mind craves life so much.
My mind is in a different place than my body. My mind craves life. I love that.
Different place in my body. My mind craves life so much.
It's alright, it's okay. I'm feeling brave, gonna face this day. It's okay, it's alright. No tears will kiss my cheeks tonight, and it's all good, and I'm just fine. My words ring out like hollow shells. Just slow down, it takes time, but time moves slow, I know this well. And my heart breaks 1,000 times a day.
I gotta try to get through this one. He said, no tears will kiss my cheeks tonight. My heart breaks 1,000 times a day. I ain't gonna do it, Ren. I'm gonna be. All right, let's go.
It takes time, but time moves slow, I know this well. And my heart breaks 1,000 times a day. But for every hope that dies, another one takes its place. Because I
love that. I'm sorry. I can't help myself. For every hope that dies, another one takes its place. I love that. This man is not there. There's nothing. There's no quit in him. You can't beat people you can't beat a person like that. You can't. I'm sorry. Let's go.
Breaks 1,000 times a day. But for every hope that dies, another one takes its place. Because I have the strength of a mountain, and I've got the courage of the deep blue sea, and I have the heart of a lion, and the stars burn bright inside of me. And although you test me, my God, I stand so proudly. Can't you see that I have the strength of a mountain, and I'll take all you throw at me.
This is beautiful. This is beautiful.
This world is
quite scary. I know that 'cause I've been here for some time, but all that prepares me for a day when I can truly shine. 'Cause I've been so broken, and picking up fragments of myself, I'll glue them back together so I can stand at the edge of this world and yell that my heart breaks 1,000 times a day. For every hope that dies, another one takes its place. Because I have the strength of a mountain, and I've got the courage of the deep blue sea, and I have the heart of a lion, and the stars burn bright inside of me. And although you test me, my God, I stand so proudly. Can't you see that I have the strength of a mountain, and I'll take all you throw at me. Dust the cobwebs off this sheath, and I'll take the sword of my belief, and in this storm I will not flinch, and I will not move, no, not an inch. Because I have the strength of a mountain, I've got the courage of the deep blue sea, and I'll have the heart of a lion, and the stars they burn bright inside of me. But although you test me, my God, I stand so proudly. Can't you see I have the strength of a mountain, and I'll take all you throw at me.
All right, I see us jumped into the next one. Well, I'm gonna have to sit with that one. He got me again. He got me again. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. That song was beautiful. Yeah. My summary. Ren is necessary. That's it. Thank y'all for going on the ride with me and continuing to go on the ride with me. Can't wait to get into chapter 6. I think I'm gonna go do the Sam Tompkins one. I need a break real quick. I think I'm gonna go do the Sam Tompkins song that he did with him before I do chapter 6. But chapter 6 will be coming right after I do that. Yeah, alumni assignment for the day. If y'all haven't read it in the ticker tape. Oh, also thanks for y'all see that some of the graphics are starting to change. We're starting to make some new things to the appearance and this, that, and other. I want to thank my brother Laser Child. Laser Child helped me design the graphics and came up with the concept for the ticker tape and everything that you see on the screen now. Much love, my brother. I really appreciate all that you've done to help me continue to upgrade the channel. And we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep adding new stuff and keep working on trying to make it better. I've almost got everything put back together, so pretty soon I'll be able to widen my camera back up so that you can see my whole background again. I had to pan it in because I don't want y'all seeing all the chaos that's happening around me right now. But we're getting close to it being done. But your assignment for the day, alumni, make sure you love on somebody today. You never know what a little bit of kindness can mean to them. All right. I love you. Ain't shit you can do about it.